Hello and welcome, FOF. I hope everybody's having a great day. Today we have Falcon Esports versus Team Azores. I am found. Nice to hear from you guys all again. I'm here with, oh my God, man, I do not know how to pronounce your name. But
No worries,
introduce
no
yourself to the
worries.
friends here.
Hello, it's me, your resident poorly spelled anti. Don't worry about it. It's a running joke that is hard to pronounce on first glance.
Oh,
But
it's anti.
yeah,
Damn it, I love it, man. Keep going. Keep going.
but yeah, this will be an interesting spot because we got Falcon Esports and Team Azorth. It's 3-3 to 2-4. These teams are relatively close in the standings, and we're seeing some interesting bands coming out already.
Yeah, absolutely. Team Azores is our returning finalist. So they started off a little slow so far, but I'm really enjoying their progression. I think they played a lot better last week than they've had pretty much the entirety of the league. So what do you think about them, about the plans that we've seen so far with the Vladimir, the Thresh? We've already seen Seraphine, Akali, and Malzahar being taken away. What do you think about what we're getting so early on?
I don't know, because generally speaking, right? We're used to seeing jungle bands like the Hecarim, the Volibear, or like Udyr, stuff like that. And the fact that these are so specific makes me feel like these teams really know each other, really know the players on other teams, and know what they want to deny. Either that, or they have very specific comps in mind that they want to get rid of those champs that deal with those.
Yeah, absolutely. And since this is the boring meta that we are in now, hopefully we won't be seeing another Udyr and Hecarim trade. They are both available, but it looks like TAS is going to opt to take away the Tahm Kench to prevent the Senna Tahm Kench coming out. This might be the first time in a long time I've seen Senna being first picked B1.
And that's a really interesting choice there, because when you're going for first pick, right, you're usually going for something that's highly contested, and I don't really know if Senna's particularly contested right now. In the meantime, TAS are responding by taking away the Tahm Kench, but unfortunately the Tahm Kench takeaway also means that their Galio is no longer really a flex pick.
Yeah, and looks like they're even getting more spicy. So the Trundle has come out. It is going to be good into the Galio and the Tahm Kench, especially if that Galio goes Aftershock. But seeing it early, I'm really interested to see where Falcon's going with. They have a very interesting composition. These champions don't really synergize super well, so I'm really interested in how they're going to put this all together and make something cohesive. And on the side of TAS, like based on what they've shown, like all I'm seeing is they have some disengage, they have some hard engage. None of these things are really together yet. So what do you think about the first three picks? This is really interesting first three picks.
Well, so we're getting the Udyr, as anticipated. You can't really go without getting one of these top tier junglers in the game somewhere. Now I think that both of these drafts are relatively strange, I guess would be one way to put it for now. But Falcon Esports actually have an idea that I can already see their team going. I think they want to do a 5v5 front to back, or if they're trying to go for skirmishes, either way, they just want a front to back and use the Senna to keep everyone healthy. Meanwhile, TAS, I still don't know what their team wants to do. Whether or not that's going to be fleshed out into something coherent, or if it's still going to just be a little mosh posh of whatever, is still going to be something we need to see.
Yeah, absolutely, and it does seem like the Tahm Kench was a takeaway. Probably the original plan was to get this Galio, was to get this Udyr. Now they can they could have pinched the jungle pool, but they're opting to not do that since they're most likely assuming that Trundle is going to go into the jungle. So Trundle can go both top and support if they're opt to take that trade. But it's very interesting to see that the Sylas has been picked up so early. He's typically used as a counter pick, so this is showing a lot of confidence on Camel to say he's willing to take this into some of the more punishing mid lane matchups that can come out.
And we have 4 bans in the top lane right now. Four of the bans that came out, in all of them that came out on the second draft are top lane bans. So if that Trundle is actually supposed to be in top lane, then he's having a fun time. Well, there's the Cho'Gath pick. I'm guessing it's going to be Trundle jungle. Trundle support could absolutely work with Senna. I would not expect to see it happening.
Yeah, that would be a lot of healing in the bot side, but Trundle jungle right now, so he is really slow. That's pretty much what's been getting him from being into the competitive meta right now, even though there's been so many tank junglers coming out, and he's not a good Cinderhawk user, so he doesn't really have a mythic choice.
Whoa!
Ooh, Vayne here. So that is just a straight up Senna support. So
Oh, I see.
this is actually, I like this. I like this from Falcon. So taking the Vayne, Vayne's weaknesses in the early game is really difficult to work around. But since they saw the Kai'Sa, Vayne is good into Kai'Sa. She does outrange her. And the Senna, if she manages to get a free lane into the Tahm Kench, this is just a perma scaling bot lane. They have so much damage just coming out of these two. And they will have push. They will have priority. They're going to be extremely gankable, so they're going to have to work around that. But I like what they picked here.
Yeah, and one of the big things, right? They have Udyr jungle on TAS, and Senna with her E makes it harder for Udyr to get on top of it's not so easy to just be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna run in and auto attack the people who are completely untargetable. But like one of the big things here is that Falcon have a very solid, hey, we just want a 5v5, we want a front to back. Vayne's going to be outputting all the damage that we need. Senna's going to be keeping everyone healthy. Meanwhile, TAS, it feels like if they're not getting ahead early, they're just not going to win the game.
Yeah, they have a really one-dimensional composition, and they probably have, I would say that Kai'Sa Tahm Kench is probably one of the worst 2v2s imaginable. They're super low range. Kench is not going to get that survivability that he's used to when he has the Tahm. Basically, Senna is the only reason why we even see Tahm Kench anymore after all the nerfs he's gotten. So they're going to really have to show out into this laning phase, and Team Azov is a team that can do that. They've done it. They did it pretty consistently in the playoffs, so they definitely have a little bit of a draft hole. But what do you think? What's your predictions based on what you've seen so far?
Right now, I think I'm going to have to give it a Falcon Esports, because they have a clear idea of what they want to do, and their comp isn't particularly too difficult for them to execute on. Meanwhile, for TAS, a lot of the onus is on them to just not mess up while retaining a lead. And it's just not easy. Like, it's not like they can't win, but it's just not an easy thing to pull off. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a very lane's going to tell us a lot. If the Cho'Gath comes out of lane even, then that basically just kills a lot of the win condition that TAS has drafted for. This Jace is going to need to have a massive impact in the top side, which is doable since their top lane 2v2 is extremely strong. They have the Galio for the support. They have the Udyr, who's going to be outpacing this Trundle, and they're going to have the Jace, who in theory should be able to beat Cho'Gath. Now, Cho'Gath does have a lot of kill pressure at level 6. But I honestly, there is ways for them to come out pretty strong. But this is really gonna be on Kiz and Yoni to, make sure they have a dominant game.
Basically, TAS should be getting ahead early, and they have to hold on to that lead. If they mess up once, it could just be straight up over. This is a very difficult team comp to make work, but if you can make it work, it'll do wonders for you.
Yeah. Now, I think Vayne is a pretty underrated pick. It doesn't come out very often in FOF, so having Be Shy Wop, what a name, pulling it out here. I'm really interested to see this Vayne and Senna matchup because I think that it should just dominate the Kai'Sa Tahm Kench just because of the range difference. Is probably about like 75-80 range in between both of the carries. So. And if if Senna gets a free lane, then she's just hitting everyone from across the map and Senna can't team fight. So I really want to see how these bot lanes before. Gua and Ambo have been really good. So I want to know if they can make this work and actually, show us something, because this is a different bot lane than what we're typically seeing. What we usually see. All right, I'm getting a quick confirmation that there is a little bit of delay. There has been a disconnect into the game. Please stick with us. We will be into the game shortly. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep talking about what we see. Let's get into some specifics. So let's talk about the mid lane matchup. You have Sylas versus Galio. This is something that we used to see very often when Galio was more of the height of his power. What do you think about this matchup right now?
Honestly, Sylas Galio, I could absolutely see it going well for Sylas, because Sylas, like, early on, is in one of his weaker states. And Galio, while he's not ever going to die, isn't necessarily going to have the same kind of kill pressure that you need into a Silas to really like punish him early. So I'm guessing that Camel Basil could just go Conqueror and just scale up instead of needing to take Fleet Footwork to like completely survive in this lane, which is what Silas ends up having to do in a lot of matchups lately. Um, Nice. So
So actually, if the Silas has taken Conqueror, that is really really good for him because he now has basically Galio has a really difficult time pushing out champions that are really strong into the mid lane mages. Silas has pretty high base MR, and is one of the reasons why he's played in the mid lane more than the top lane as of right now. And but if you're Silas, you have to be pretty sad about what you see here. Whose ultimate are you gonna steal? Like you can steal Galio's, but even then, that's not like a great ultimate to steal. And basically, all the other ones are completely useless.
yeah, like at this point, like you can steal Galio, and that's great and all, but Silas, in terms of like ult stealing, is not really going to be doing that much this game. But in terms of like being able to hit people, everyone tends to be relatively low range. So Silas should be able to get on top of them. And if they're not getting that healing reduction early, it's going to hurt them quite a bit.
Yeah, this would be absolutely egregious if they don't get it. Basically, every champion in the game has some form of healing steroid. You have the Subjugate coming out of the Trundle, you have the Senna Q, you have the Kingslayer from Silas, and you have Cho'Gath passive, which I believe is called Carnivore. So there's so much healing coming out. If I really expect Jace or Kai'Sa's just going to need to really get it early, or they're just not going to be able to take anything in this mid game.
Yeah, one of the big things here is that I am fairly confident that like if this was to go as it goes on paper, Kench Kai'Sa should be getting behind early because Vayne Kai'Sa that in terms of 1v1 alone is already relatively Vayne favored because of Vayne having a strong 1v1 and Vayne having the auto attack range larger than Kai'Sa's. And because of that, Vayne's been picked in pro play semi-recently as a traditional counterpick to Kai'Sa, which doesn't always work because, supports exist. But in this case, you have Senna versus Kench. Kench is not doing anything to Senna. Kench is not going to be doing anything to Vayne. Not without completely and totally committing. And because of that, I would not be surprised to see TAS's bot lane getting behind quite a bit early. So that early executioners might end up being fairly detrimental to Kai'Sa overall. Meanwhile, Jace should be getting ahead. It's Jace Cho'Gath. Yes, Cho'Gath will have some scary kill power at level 6, but before that, Jace should try to make Cho'Gath's life a living hell. And like you said, the 2v2, very strong. And especially with the Galio, so I think they just play around topside. And then once they can get a lead in topside, transition that power over into bot, try to get some dragons off of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm really interested to see what Coach Kyle has chosen to come up with. See, with this particular game and these lane setups, I would just be telling my team, "Hey, this is a chance. You guys should definitely look to split map here, just to secure 2 quadrants for the Trundle, and to make sure that Kai'Sa Compton just can never play the game. Cho'Gath should be relatively self-sufficient, and if he gets dived, who cares? It's still Cho'Gath. He'll do what he needs to do regardless." But if in this type of matchup, if the Trundle manages to secure all 6 camps and is not massively behind the Udyr, that's a net win. And just throwing a curveball at TAS in the early game can secure a really, really decent advantage. So I hope that we see something spicy, something different in this early game to really extend some type of advantage. All right. So even after the delay, we are now in game. We have 59% saying that TAS is going to be the team that takes it. Let's see if the fans are correct and if TAS manages to pull out a win here.
All right. So, we're seeing our relatively standard 5-point spread. Jace a little bit late, but it's not going to be punished in any way.
Yeah, this pretty standard starts here, so this looks like they're not going to go for anything spicy. The Udyr has dropped his ward, so we're going to see both junglers now basing to get that red trinket. Really, I expect a relatively slow early game. It's going to be really based on what these junglers decide to do, and it looks like early on they're going to be mirroring, so we should expect a fight in this top side for the Scuttle Crab.
And as we know, Udyr outpaces Trundle. So if Trundle doesn't go for like a 3 buff into Scuttle, I don't think he's gonna end up being able to beat Udyr out. But I'm guessing that they're just going to both be going for full clears, and Trundle just has to give away the Scuttle anyway. Right, just a little bit of early poking from the Jace.
Yeah, he needs to be scared. This is a interesting decision because now if you're the Trundle, you're now pathing to your weak side to try to secure a Scuttle Crab. I don't know. This seems to me more like a solo queue centric kind of thing, where just like people want to start red for their bot side, regardless whether or not it makes sense for them to be pathing in that direction. But yeah, basically now he's going to be going to his weak side. He's going to get his blue, and he's basically doing it. He's going to do a 3 camp, but by the time Scuttle comes, Voodoo is going to be at Scuttle with 4, and he's going to be 3 still.
And in top lane, we have the classic Jace experience.
Yeah, just zoned forever. Looks like the lanes have gone based on our expectations so far. There's going to be a little bit of a trade in this mid lane, but not much is going to come of it. Here's the Jace going all in onto the Cho'Gath, getting a good trade, really solid. The wave is going to be pushing into Cho'Gath, so he's not too upset about where he is at the moment.
And one of the big things about hitting Cho'Gath is that if you hit Cho'Gath, you have to make sure that that damage can stick, because otherwise that passive is absolutely going to just negate everything that you do to him.
Oh, here we go. This is going to be the Trundle. He's going to be walking up. That's going to be the frozen domain down. He's going to come. Trundle's going to get in range. The pillar's going to come. Jason's going to have to flash the rupture, and that is going to be the flash burn from Kiz. That's going to really make this early game a lot harder for the Jace to play.
And like I said, if Trundle's not doing that 3 buff clear, he's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to contest that Scuttle. But that's just Trundle going for 3 camps, going right into top lane, and punishing Jace for overstepping.
Yeah, but then Jace has priority, so Trundle is going to be caught onto this camp. Udyr doesn't have smite, so he's actually going to let the Trundle have it. Wow, well, level disadvantage and a pushing side lane, and the Trundle has managed to secure the Scuttle Crab. And the Vayne bot side is just going to take the other one. So this is a really, really good early game on the side of Team Spear? This is Team Spear, right?
It was Falcon Esports.
Team Falcon Esports. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. So it's a really good early game on the side of Falcon Esports, securing both those Scuttle Crabs.
Oh, good trade.
Yeah, that is going to be the condemned landing. Good is struggling. He has managed to keep the CS, but he only has about... Well, he has about 5 to collect here, so he should be about even by the time both these waves crashes, provided he doesn't miss any. But the wave is in a really bad spot for them. If Team Falcon Esports were choosing to freeze it, it would have been really, really strong. And actually, this is a different type of Senna build, so this is the tank. How do you feel about the tank Senna build?
Yeah, so one of the big things about Senna is that if you're playing Grass Senna, it's something that's been around since last season. You just make sure to go... In this season, you're going Frostfire into Black Cleaver, so you're just itemizing for cooldown reduction and keeping your team alive while keeping yourself relatively tanky. One of the big problems that she has is that she just doesn't really do that much damage, but in this kind of a team composition, she doesn't have to. So it's perfectly acceptable for her to just go tanky Senna build, because she just needs to stay alive and in turn keep her teammates alive. So yeah, I actually like it quite a bit.
Yeah, I think this has been the pretty... When I see Senna in the bot lane as just a straight-up support and not the kind of support carry kind of version, I feel like the grasp has been what we've been simming most of. But here comes a gank. The taunt is going to go wide, so Camel is just going to walk it out. Some pressure coming out from the Udyr. This is going to be his first gank, but he's still even with the Trundle. The Trundle is really happy about where he's at right now.
And Haps is chilling in top lane, like getting pushed in, but basically even in farm.
Yeah, there's no real advantages coming out from Team Azores. They're going to even pick up this dragon. Now, this was to be expected based on the bot lane priority that had already been managing to accrue. So this dragon is going to be taken on the side of Falcon Esports. But the fact that there's been no significant advantages in these lanes, this is a really, really good spot. And basically, even though the gold doesn't show it, they're up like 400, 500 gold if you consider the levels and the stats that they shouldn't have that they now do have.
All right, they keep on trying to look to do something mid, but
Here we go. They're gonna
slippy champion.
that is going to be the Udyr ult taken. That's going to be a lot of damage. The Udyr ult is AP, so that is going to get a lot of damage onto Udyr. He's going to have to run away. Silas just turns the gank around. It looked like the taunt didn't land, so there wasn't a lot of follow-up damage coming through. But yeah, this is a low damage lane early on, and Silas does have a lot of survivability.
Yeah, Silas relatively slippery, and that Conqueror are going to make him really, really scary if you go for an extended fight. So I don't really know if they're going to end up being able to do too much in the mid lane. Top lane needs to secure a real lead and like stay ahead and run away with it. But instead...
Oh, look, Jace doesn't have flash yet. This is a really well-timed gank. The pillar is going to land. Now the teleport's going to come through. The rupture is going to go wide. Jace is kiting with this phase rush really, really well. This is going to be a double taunt from the Galio. That's going to be a lot of damage. That's going to be the first blood taken by the Galio, but this is still going. Silas has walked up. The ultimate's going to come down, but Jace isn't going to survive. He's walking out really, really slow. Is Silas going to be able to pick this up? The pot is healing. He's still healing. He has a lot of damage taken up. That's going to be the heal coming up from the Kingslayer. That's a lot of damage that's coming through. Silas is still taking up. He has this Conqueror stacked. The Galio is not going to survive. That's going to be a double kill on the side of Silas. Very well played, Rome. And good fight early on. But here's a gank. They're not going to give me a break. This is a bigger trade. That's a lot of damage. Senna's already flashed away. Senna's going to go down. And just a series of kills just dropping across the map.
But they like... This game's gonna start getting really bloody if we're seeing plays like that, and like that 2v2 in top lane really ended up really good. The moment that it turns into a 3v3, the moment that they get the kill, it's nice. Then Silas gets there and it's another 2v2, and Silas with that Conqueror just going to be doing so much.
Oh, it looks like that's an overstay from the Vayne. Woo, good. Thought that Q was going to take it and didn't turn around to secure that last auto attack. Vayne still, just balls of steel, still has the flash available. But that is going to be all the summoners out from this Kai'Sa. Well, actually, she does still have her healer, but the flash is now down. And that is everything out of this Senna, who died with barrier and flash. So that is going to be a target for this Udyr moving forward.
Oh boy, and she's still staying. She's just gonna pick up the wave, hopefully back after this. She's got the Senna, so should be all fine and dandy. No real kill pressure from the enemy bot lane at this point.
It looks like they're gonna look to try to get this push, get this easy reset. Let's see. Hopefully they're able to make it all the way into the tower. If this wave is cleared out in the next couple seconds, it should hit and won't freeze. So the bot is in a really, really good spot right now. But this is something that we've seen chat discuss a lot. The Senna has chosen to go the Berserker's boots. It's interesting, but honestly, I don't have so much to say. Go ahead, you go. How do you feel about the builds that we've seen so far?
I don't know about the Berserker's greets from Senna, because like a lot of the thing is, right, you're going to go Frostfire, you're going to go Cleaver, you're itemizing into cooldown reduction, so that way you're going to end up reducing the amount of like total armor on the enemy team. You're helping your teammates do more damage. You're keeping everyone else alive. So I don't really know if Berserkers is going to do that much for Senna. I'd rather see her get, the Bomby Cinder so she can just get consistent grass stacks.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time I've seen someone take it, go this route, especially if you're expecting not to get any attack speed from the item that you're building. Senna's attack speed scaling was buffed, which is the reason why you see Kraken and all these other attack speed items on her. So my guess is this is because she's not expecting to get any more attack speed in her build, and she maybe feels like she doesn't need the slow resistant boots in this game since there's not that many slows to be very concerned about. So in theory, it can make sense, and we'll just have to wait and see how this is going to end up working out for her.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like Berserker's Greaves are any particularly bad item. It's just a question as to whether or not it's the most effective.
Yeah, and that is really good trading on the side of Gua and Ambo. They've really been landing a lot of the poke. That's at least 3 Tahm Kench Qs landed in a row. Senna's been really taking a big hit, and there's not been that much trade damage. So they are managing to come back into this lane a little bit, even with the CS deficits that's been accrued.
Right, and we're seeing another trade in mid lane.
Yeah, but this shouldn't amount to much. Galio is going to have to walk back. Looks like they didn't need to... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, but one of the big things is that we saw the slow push in bot lane, Trundle coming in to make sure that they can get the dragon. could be diving the Cho'Gath here.
Yeah, it looks like that this is going to be long. The Cho'Gath, it should be able to get away with what was available at the moment. He is going to have to burn the flash, even though the camera, the camera did troll us. Camera pans away at that point. But yeah, it is going to be the camera flash, the flash away from the Cho'Gath. But he is surviving. He's still not that super far down on CS, given what the matchup is. So he's doing a decent job at the moment.
And like, as we saw, Jace going to have that early priority against the Cho'Gath. Now able to actually like make use of the pick. Strangely after 6, funnily enough. Oh,
We're gonna there's an all-in trade. That's gonna be a lot of damage coming out. The Senna is just gonna be out of position, so she's gonna go down. The Galio ult is gonna drop, and you have a teleport advantage. Vayne is gonna have to kite out with that ultimate. That is gonna be this Jace teleport gone down. Vayne is gonna be running. She's gonna be long. The flash is gonna come down. She just flashed the Q from the Jace, so she has not received a slow. Now they're waiting in the bush. They're gonna try to turn this. They are still outnumbered. Sylas has the Galio ult, so he is gonna land a 2-man ultimate. Sylas has come in. That's a lot of damage coming out onto this Trundle. He's not going to be able to tank up. Sylas is really getting that damage down the back. He's picked up the Galio. This is running. Vayne has gone down on the other side. Trundle is not just still running. He is going to make it out with a really good pillar, but it looks like Sylas is not done yet. He wants to continue to fight. He has the Conqueror stack. He has the sustain. He is going through and getting this extra damage down, and that is going to be the hop out. Very, very scrappy fight, and it looks like Team Azores is going to take a small advantage on that
one. So, like, that all started off with 1-2v2 in bot lane, and all of a sudden it turns into everything in the kitchen sink being thrown in. Like, with the teleport advantage in the top lane, we got the Galio ult coming in, and Falcon Esports ended up re-engaging, but it's still a 3v4 overall.
Yeah, really, really well played on this path for this Sylas. He did manage to pick up another kill. He is super strong right now, already 3-0. And honestly, this is counterintuitive to what I expected from when I saw this pick, but I'm really happy to see this champion performing well. And it's a really, really strong counter pick, so hopefully more teams will opt to take it.
And like, the Sylas being able to go Conquer here just does so much for his damage.
Yeah, another good trade on the side of Gua and Ambo. They did manage to get a lot of damage off this Vayne. They did take a lot back from the Senna, but they are still managing to get some health damage down. Now they are at least gankable. The W is going to land, so that's going to be Gua taking a lot of damage still. They're going to have a really difficult time sustaining up now that the Senna has all this extra healing from the cooldown reduction that she has gotten.
Hello? Hi.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, sorry. Minor technical difficulties on that one.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a gank here.
Yep, it looks like the camera's going to pan away. Now you have the Udyr. He's going long. He's going to have to walk in. The stun is going to land, but he's going to get condemned in the wall. He's going to take a lot of damage from this Vayne with the silver bolts coming through. That is multiple bolts constantly going through. Vayne's ultimate has expired. The stun's going to land. Kai'Sa's going to pick her up with a huge burst of damage. The Tom Kench Eat is going to keep the Udyr alive for a little bit longer. Kench is cutting it out, but the Trundle is going to pick up a shutdown. There's double teleports coming down. This is going to be a big fight. Kai'Sa has little HP left. He's going to manage your Q, so this is going to be a ward Q if it's anything. It looks like Gua is going to make it out. And that is going to be a top lane tower going on the side of Azure. So he is happy with that TP if nothing else occurs. And that's going to be a great pillar going to stop the Udyr from jumping over. He's going to have to flash out. And woof, just a really, really good consistent trades. And really well done.
Now, I was about to start writing Team Azorth out, but like, well, they're just fighting. They're just forcing fights and like scrapping all the way back.
Yeah, they are really looking for it. The Jace is really happy with the position, but that is a really, really good fight for the side of Team Azores. They've managed to get an advantage off of an outnumbered fight and get away with their lives. So they're happy with what they've gotten, and they've managed to pick up 1,000 gold lead. Now they're going to need more based on the scaling, but given the way these lanes were expected to play out, I'm really happy to see that they've managed to counter the advantages that were there.
And now we want what Falcon Esports wants. They just want to like play it slow, look for 5v5s, good front to backs, but they're playing into these small skirmishes, and and TAS have exactly what it is that they want. They just want those small skirmishes. They want to keep fighting. They want to go for those early kills and make use of their early spiking champions.
Yeah, and it looks like we're expecting another fight. The dragon is going to be up. We have all members of the team around. Now this is going to be pretty aggressive. Vayne is going to go up for the condemn. She's going to take a lot of damage. Now she's taunted. That's going to be a one-shot from the side of the Galio. A lot of damage coming through. The Jace is going to trade. Now they're fighting in the pit. Senna is going to get a lot of value from this healing. Trundle is going to drop. Cho'Gath is going to be struggling to do it. That's going to be Silas dropping. Now they're going to have to flash over the wall. Are they going to make it? Senna has nothing else available, so she's going to go down. Is she going to get a trade kill? That's going to be another kill. And oh, Senna did manage to pick up the kill on the Tahm Kench. I don't know how she got it, but she got it. And that is going to be a fight on the side of Team Azorth. That is one, but that's a dragon taken and soul point gotten for the side of Team Falcons.
Just straight up an auto from the grave there. But yeah, so I said earlier that, you know, Falcon Esports, they do want that slow front to back. But when TAS can get on top of them, they have so much AoE that it's not that simple to just sit there and like take Dragon or something like that. Because once you're back into the pit, that AoE is going to be hitting everyone. You know, you got the Phoenix Sands from Udyr, you got the Jace Q and W. You have Galio's existence as a champion, and like there's just so much damage coming out that if Falcon Esports can't get that slow front to back, just focusing one person at a time, it's going to be relatively difficult here. And a lot of the onus is going to be on the Vayne. So the fact that she's behind is going to make these early fights difficult, but she is going to keep scaling up, and it is going to keep getting harder and harder.
Yeah, and it looks like you now have the Silver Bow. So this is going to be a Rift Herald taken. I don't expect there to be any more fighting as it occurs. Now this is really, really good for the side of Team Falcons. Now that they've gotten this Rift Herald, unfortunately the set did not pick up the souls for the Rift Herald. That is some free souls. You should always try to get those. But they have managed to get an advantage despite them being 3,000 gold down based on how these lanes turned out. And now this Cho'Gath is in trouble. He does not have flash, and Udyr is coming around. Yeah, Cho'Gath is just dead. There's nothing he can do. He's going to get stunned up. Let's just see who they're going to donate this kill to. I expect the Jace to get it, and that is going to be Kids picking up his second kill of the game.
And one of the interesting things here, you know, we have Jace itemizing into Mirror Mana, so no lethality outside of the Eclipse just yet.
Oh, here's the ultimate. That's going to be good. She's going in long. That's a lot of damage coming out from the oh my god. That's a lot of damage coming out. And it looks like Silas is going to be able to walk it out. And this here looks like they are not done. This Kai'Sa is going to be a little bit out of position. Let's see if the pillar manages to land and get a cutoff. And it looks like they are going to make it out.
Now, while Kai'Sa and Kench might not necessarily have a great 2v2, Kench still a great way how to keep your AD carries alive. So if they just specifically go for Kai'Sa, it's not going to be all that easy. Kench, on the other hand, on the easier side.
You from the center knocked the Kai'Sa, knocked the Tahm Kench over the pillar. That is sad to see, and that's 2 towers picked up. Yep.
All right, so they're just going to donate the blue buff right over to Kai'Sa. I mean, she can make quite a bit of use out of the gold. Galio looking to back here anyway, so I guess it's just going to be her job to clear out mid lane for now. But right now we're just going to be doing a lot of vision control, see how much they can deny. Yeah, Jace finishes the Manamune. Kai'Sa should have the Q evolved by now, looking to get the Collector soon. Galio already got Rocket Belt done. So we've already seen some really big spikes from Team Azorth. And on the side of Falcon Esports, you got all their mythics finished, but nobody's got their second item completed, which Jace is already on 2.5 items, so Jace is going to be a big amount of damage in these upcoming fights.
Yeah, this is the point in the game where Team Azorth needs to do something. They need to extend this advantage further. They have the Baron up and available, but if you just look at their item builds, they've built really, for now, power. The Gale Force on the Kai'Sa is very good early, doesn't scale as well as the Kraken would. And this is when they need to really spread out this advantage. But now that this dragon is spawning, and there's a lot of pings going down, let's see, there is no vision, but they should know this is going, as there are 4 members missing on the map with a Vayne. And this is the Baron. This Baron is going down really slowly. They're not really contesting to hit it that much. It looks like they're trying to look for a fight here, and it looks they're still on it. They haven't really been pushed off.
And because it's Cho'Gath in tandem with the Trundle, they have to look for a real fight here.
Here comes the engage. That's going to be the Cho'Gath. He's going to get taunted up, but Galio is going to have to go into that Hourglass as a lot of damage coming down. The Silas ult is going to come through. That Trundle is going to pick up a lot of damage. He's going to get the kill. That's going to be the Silas picking up the Tahm Kench, and now this is just going to be a rout. Now Gu is running. He's going to have to keep going. That's going to be a flash pillar. He's just going to go out of here. That's a shutdown on the half of the Vayne. Really, really good fight. A 4-for-1 for the side of Team Falcon Esports. It looks like they're going to go for the Soul instead of the Baron.
Well, like I said, you know, because it's Cho'Gath and Trundle together, you cannot beat that smite. You have to start a fight here. But Falcon Esports playing that really, really well. They get that, you know, that slow front to back. They're able to focus specifically who they want. And when it's not just sitting there and taking a bunch of AoE damage, they output quite a bit, and it's really, really hard for TAS to get in.
Yeah, and that was just perfect midlining on the side of the Cho'Gath. He really prevented any of this follow-up engage from coming through. And then the Vayne, with her passive movement speed, just chasing everyone down. And that much gold going over to the Vayne at this point into the game, that's just a disaster for the side of Team Azores.
Yeah, that final hour, like, tripling the amount of movement speed from Night Hunter is actually, like, ridiculous at this stage in the game. It's like, what, 90 flat move speed? 60? I forget. But, like, at the very least, it's not an insignificant amount if you're getting chased.
No, absolutely not. And that's going to be a really, really solid fight with the... Oh, it looks like that dragon didn't come through. That's going to be Kiz teleporting in. He's going to pick up 1 kill. The Cho'Gath is going to have to flash out. Silas is now dead. He has teleport when he comes up, when he's available. But it looks like they've opted to go for the Baron instead. Cho'Gath is running. He's going to be quite far away from any real assistance, as the Senate is going to come through and save him with the W. But it looks like the Baron for the Soul trade. I would have personally preferred they have taken the Soul, because the Baron can be taken after that. And this is an Infernal Soul, which is really, really good for their comp. But they've chosen to go for the Baron, which means they're probably looking to try to wrap up this game.
I mean, at this point, like, it's just a matter of them biting off a little more than they can chew. They wanted agreed for both at the same time, but I think you just commit 5 people to the Baron and then rotate to the Soul, or you just go for the Soul outright. And, you know, personally, I would have said just go for the Soul. You can get the Baron afterwards now that you have Infernal Soul. But yeah, you know, Team Azor seeing the amount of seeing an opportunity. And clawing their way back in.
Yeah, now you're really kind of put in the position where you want to decide, do you want that permanent buff, or do you want this immediate power and gold that you get from the Baron? Now, the items have come through. You have multiple mythics on the side of Team Azores and Team Falcon Esports, so they are both in a solid spot when it comes to fighting. And this is really going to come down to how these engages look, and if this Jace manages to find a priority target and really zero them out.
Oh boy, that's that Grass Senna coming in. She is so much tankier than you'd expect. Like,
yeah, she's just going to sustain all of this.
That was a Muramana Shock Blast directly to the face, and it barely even tickled her.
Yeah, and now with this Baron buff, this siege on the top side tower really is going to probably secure this tower on the next wave. The cannon did survive the Tahm Kench E, and a wave is coming through. This is really, really dangerous for them to be looking here, because that is a dive angle with so much space in between these 2 towers. And Vayne is going to have to kite to the side. I see she doesn't want to get ulted by the Kai'Sa. But here we go. Kai'Sa's going to have to run away. The Gale Force, the pillar is still available. That's going to be a lot of damage. The R is going to prevent anything further. As now the Condemn has come out. Vayne is going to be running out through the top side. They are just getting split apart. Vayne has been kiting beautifully, managing to get the damage out and not been targeted. Trundle is just going to go down. That's going to be a double rupture. That's going to be the eat onto the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa is done. That is going to be them getting routed. Now they're going to have to run. That's another double rupture. That's going to be the Jace getting shut down. Now the Tahm Kench is going to go. If the Udyr perishes here, that could just be the game.
Oh my god, those ruptures were humongous. And, like, the fact that Vayne died, rough. But, you know, you still have the Silas damage, you still have the Senna outputting heals and damage at the same time. And the fact that Cho'Gath got multiple people in those ruptures was actually ridiculous.
Yeah, two double ruptures in a row. Really, really strong team fighting on the side of Team Falcons. This Trundle is getting this Cho'Gath rather is getting a lot of value. Multiple assists. He's not super far behind in CS, and he's being the tank that they need, especially with the Vayne being zoned out and the Senate being the only main damage dealer that was hitting the entire fight.
Mm-hmm. And like Cho'Gath, in the 1v1, not necessarily having the greatest time of his life. What can I say? Team game, baby. Cho'Gath getting so much value in these team fights, and they're really making good use of this pick.
Yep, they've managed to get hit through his rough early game to the point where he is tanky enough to survive the damage coming out from this Jace. They really, really need to look to try to prioritize more of a split pushing angle for the Jace at this point, as he's probably not going to have more value in team fights than he is at the moment right now. And with this inhibitor falling, now they're going to get sieged on, and Jace is going to be in a really tough position to find some continuous value.
Mm-hmm. All right, and like we said earlier, oh wait, Jace's gonna be caught out here.
Yep, that's going to be the flash away, but he's still out of position. He's going to have to get away from this pillar. The final hour is down, so they did manage to get that out, but it has a relatively short cooldown at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a lot. That's a heavy resources from the Jace being taken out, because the flash the flash Q does a lot of damage to Squishies. It could one-shot this Vayne if she gets hit with the taunt, and that's just something that's not going to be available at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And like one of the big things here, right, is that so the Tahm Kench, we know that it was a Tahm Kench Senna takeaway. But Kench as a champion hasn't really been doing much this game. Meanwhile, Senna's outputting so much value, especially now that she's finished Cleaver. So she can continually put out damage and reduce the enemy's armor. And Vayne's just gets to free hit and do everything that she wants in these fights with Cho'Gath frontlining like this. Like, this game's just going to get harder and harder for Team Azor to pull off.
Yeah, they are in a really tough position. This next angle is probably going to be where they're going to look to fight. This is the Infernal Soul, so this is something that needs to be contested, but they cannot take a Smite fight against Cho'Gath and a regular Smite. So this is going to have to be a good angle from these entrances, and it looks like they're just getting zoned. Fantastic play here, controlling the zones, not allowing them to walk in, preventing the team fight from happening before it happens. They're already starting this dragon. It's probably almost dead at this point. With the Cho'Gath are available, that's going to be a lot of damage onto the Trundle, but Cho'Gath is going to get the eat, and that is Infernal Soul coming out.
All right, and one interesting thing here is we see Zeke's on the Trundle, and it's connected to Vayne. So like, they're just playing into Vayne. They're playing into Silas. They know that they're not the damage dealers. They're just going to make sure that their damage dealers can do the work for them, and Team Azor, they're playing to their strengths. They're Falcon Esports, they're playing to their strengths. They know what they need to do, and they're just allowing their carries to do as much as they can.
Yeah, this is something that we used to see frequently when we saw Trundle as a more priority pick than he is now. When there's an ultimate target that he can take for resistances from them, he doesn't really need to build them himself. Therefore, it's a pretty effective buy just to go straight support items. They are very inexpensive, and Trundle does tend to give away a lot of his gold later on. And that's a lot of value that they're going to get, having that extra Zeeks from that isn't typically available to be bought at this point in the game. And it's going on to a Vayne, no less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Vayne is itemizing into Guardian Angel, which I'm not sure if she should necessarily go for it this early, but the fact that she's going Guardian Angel means that you got a Vayne with Infernal Soul who's pumping out damage, and even if you do get that pick, you're not really going to get much value out of it because their whole team's going to collapse. They're going to be there, and it's just going to be so hard to not to claw your way back into this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she's just going to sit on that stopwatch and still probably go into that IE, but if she does choose to go Guardian Angel, that could be very effective, especially if they're looking to end out this game in the next couple of minutes. Now, Cho'Gath R is available. This steal would have to occur through the R and the Smite, and Cho'Gath is just going to pick it up from 600 HP, and that is a Baron just easily secured. Team Falcon has, look at that range on the
final hour.
Baron's going to be flashing in. The final hour's move speed is coming through. That's a lot of damage. The flash is going to come through, and it looks like the E is not even going to have to be utilized, as that is the Kaisa getting away.
And one of the interesting things here, Vayne has Nimbus Cloak, Gathering Storm. So the further this game goes, Vayne's also getting more value out of her Gathering Storm. Nimbus Cloak is going to keep her slippery as possible. And despite the fact that she burned both of her sums there, I still don't know if TAS have an angle to actually pick off the Vayne in these fights.
Yeah, that is going to be the question, whether or not she can even be picked successfully. But even if that occurs, you got to look. The Senna's still extremely strong. That's another 80 carry threat. Even when she's going tank, she gets free crit and free damage from her passive. So if she has a lot of stacks, which most likely at this point she does, she's still going to be in a pretty solid spot when it comes to damage output. Look at those crits. She's still getting crits even on the jungle minions.
And this is Infernal Soul, so Senna's still going to be doing quite a bit. And Vayne has the Guardian Angel. I don't know if TAS have a way back
look,
into
here comes the root coming out. Galio is gonna eat away, and on the opposite side of the map, there's gonna be a shutdown on the Cho'Gath. He probably just landed the rupture, got the E down, and at that point was able to R from a high HP threshold, and that's just gonna be a kill. This is gonna be the second inhib going down, if not the game. So they're gonna really need to come through with something solid in this defense plan to make sure that they don't just straight up lose the game here.
Yeah, I don't know. TAS, they have to do something here, but like I just don't know if there is an angle to really get in.
Yeah. And look at Gua. He is just outranged by the Senna. He can't even walk up without taking half of his HP. Look at the range on the Senna hitting Gua from basically a screen away. Like
Tank,
at this point, and while being a tank, at this point, what are you gonna do? And it looks like they're gonna have to come and get a consorted fight because this inhib goes down, which it looks like it will. This is gonna be double supers in both waves. The Baron is still gonna be available for another minute, there's a minute and a half, and now we're just looking to see how this last team fight is gonna come out. Cho'Gath is going to be tanking. Vayne is going to get hit by a shock blast on the side and take a lot of damage. Gua is going to have to be going back to base as Senna is just 2v1ing them. That's going to be the flash out on the side of the Senna. And it looks like they're walking up now. Tahm Kench is taking a lot of damage. He's going to have to go into the shield. He's going to go down. That's going to be the Galio going down at the same time. Cho'Gath is going to kill the Jace. That's going to be the Udyr running. Gua can't do anything. And that's Senna just solo killing the Kai'Sa on the side. That's going to be a clean ace into the game. Team Falcon has managed to pick it up. And in a very convincing manner, I might say.
Like we said, TAS have a comp that can work if they get the early lead and they transition that into a win. But the moment you mess up once, this game could just straight up be over. And it's just so hard to hold on to that lead. But like the thing is, they got a lead on Jace. That was it. The rest of the map, it was so hard to really make use of what they could get because like bot lane, while you're up in kills, you're losing in priority, so enemy team still gets the dragons, and Falcon Esports just have a really strong scaling comp, so they're just going to eventually end up doing so much.
Yeah, look at this damage chart. The Jace manages to put out so much damage, but you gotta think that probably 2/3 of that is just hitting this Cho'Gath in lane. In the Senna, that is the support being the main damage dealer of the team, constantly getting these autos down and zoning out with free stacks from a lane that could not punish her. And this could be something that we can see more often, especially when these mage supports start coming back and the all-in engage supports start to fall to the wayside. Really well played, and that is a support carry gain if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I also want to see how much allied healing was done. Because like one of the big things, right, is that while Senna is, a lot of poking, that's like there's just so much value that Senna has to just keeping her team healthy. Even though, she's getting some Qs off and autoing the opponents, that's only half of the value from Senna. The other half is the fact that she's keeping her team alive while doing all of this. And it's just such a good pick, regardless of whether or not you're putting in support or AD carry. So that first pick Senna that we saw was a little bit strange, but it ended up working out a lot.
Yeah, that is just a really, I would say really solid from Team Falcon to make sure, I'm sorry, Falcon Esports to secure this win with a composition that we don't typically see with the Vayne Senna coming out and the Silas in the mid lane being more of a counter pick and now showing up is more in a more consistent manner than usual. I'm really happy with the progression that these teams have taken. And while Team Azores has taken a step back today, I'm sure there's a lot they can learn from this and come out even stronger next week.
Mm-hmm. And like a lot of this, right, I think is going to end up relying on the draft. I think that in terms of play, Team Azorth, honestly, I think that their bot lane, in terms of play, was playing well. It's just those are hard matchups to deal with. Jace got ahead of the Cho'Gath and like made use of the lead. It's just in that game, that draft turns it into a ticking time bomb, and it's so hard to play into that. Not just physically, but also mentally. Because like you always know like, hey, if we mess up or if we don't get a lead, we just lose, and they're so hard to pull off.
Yeah, there really wasn't there really there, at this point when the game spiraled into the point where the Infernal Soul was taken. The comeback mechanics at that point were virtually gone, and I don't know. At this point, there isn't much left to say on this match other than Team Falcon Esports played a really effective game. They had a solid draft. They managed to play to their win conditions and prevent the enemy's win conditions from coming through by really not allowing their Cho'Gath to be set behind. And that's what we want to see. That's the type of game planning we want to see and we expect to see as the league moves on.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how these games go in the future. I think that Falcon Esports had a really good draft with some like solid, like I think that they ended up getting a really good team comp into the enemy team, and I want to see if they can get the same amount of success when they don't have such good counter picks there. But we know now that if they get the counter picks, they know what they want to play to. They can absolutely pull it off.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully in the next couple of minutes or so, we should be getting an interview. I'm really interested to see what these players are going to say about their progression, about how they've been moving forward with this league, and what changes or improvements that they expect to make over these next coming weeks.
Yeah, we'll see how things go. I'm real interested.
Yeah, and that's going to be it from us. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing us talking and ready to hear the players the players tell us what going on, what was going through their head and how they managed to pull off another win. Congratulations to Team Falcon for moving up to 4-3 in the standings. And that will be it for us just for now.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Hello, folks. Chris Edgeworth here. On the interview desk, I am joined by Halfs, the Cho'Gath from the victorious Falcon Esports. How you feeling after that win?
Pretty good. We
Well,
were
right on.
pretty even, but we pulled it through at the end, just through macro, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think you guys did a really good job of. It was that is one of the things that I'm going to talk about. So I'll get into that in a second. It was very even, as you say. Talk to me a little bit before we talk about the game about prepping for this match. What was your plan coming against a team like Team Asworth that has been such a tyrant in the league in years past? You guys were coming in as the favored with the record. How did you feel prepping against this team and the draft that you put together?
So we didn't really focus on researching the enemy or focusing on countering them. We just sort of focused on playing clean League of Legends, like focusing on ourselves mostly. So there wasn't much preparation focusing on them, but we mostly focused on ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, with the draft, we had a general plan, like stealing the Senna and stuff like that, but that's pretty much it.
I totally see what you're talking about with, not factoring in your opponent so much, but playing the League of Legends that you want to show up and play, especially, like you say, stealing the Senna, but otherwise coming with, playing what you folks want to play and not so much worrying about what they're going to bring out. In that regard, you did have this interesting composition. I know there was some thought going into the game whether the Cho'Gath Senna was going to be the bottom lane with Vayne in the top lane. But in the end, you ended up piloting the Cho'Gath in the top lane against a Jace matchup, which looked really rough for you early. Talk to me a little bit about your role in the team in this game and playing through that early top hell.
I mean, the thing about Cho'Gath versus Jace is that the Jace needs to seriously really get ahead for him to actually counter me or have impact, because my abilities don't ever really scale with any items or with gold, because the Q is still a knockup, the W is still a silence, the E is still a slow, and the ult is still true damage. So being ahead against the enemy top laner as Cho'Gath doesn't really matter, which is why I think Cho'Gath is such a good blind pick. So the fact that he picked Jace wasn't really a counter. He did beat me up in CS early, but I don't think that mattered because of the way Cho'Gath works.
Yeah, and I actually was watching that matchup pretty closely. You were down like early CS, like a little bit, but then he started really pushing the wave in on you, and then you were able to start clearing the waves, and eventually I think about like by 50-60 CS you guys were even in CS. So like that wasn't even super a factor. I think that you played the matchup brilliantly, especially the way that you described your point of view on the matchup against the Jace and the scaling factor. It was an even game throughout, back and forth. I'm not 100% on the gold per se throughout the game. I know it was even kills pretty back and forth throughout the game. You guys broke it open with a big play at the Baron. Talk to me about that play and transitioning that into the win.
I don't think they were really thinking about objectives, because they're kind of autopiloting by putting a bunch of people bot. So we just had an opportunity to easily get Baron and set up vision control so that they either give it the Baron or walk into us blind and pretty much guarantee lose. So I just think they weren't really focusing on objectives. I think they were just autopiloting.
Yeah, it was certainly I feel like a lot of the communication showed up here to the point that you're making about like they're just like running around doing things, trying to just make things happen, and you guys actually had a coherent like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna transition this into this, and like theirs was looking for plays and yours was setting up plays and then executing on them, which I think you did a really good job of, especially given that you had a comp that executes and is just like, hey, go late. It's the classic, if you will, like just the hey, we scale. Like, it doesn't matter what happens early, like we go late. It's all good. And it really paid off for you. I mean, it was even. Then you guys just got one fight. nothing you can really do at a certain point in the game when the Vayne is able to pop off like that, and you were just an absolute raid boss at a certain point in the game. I'm looking at the items right now. You're just an armor machine right now. Like this Jace basically was just tickling you. There was the one last thing before we go. We didn't actually get to see it because I was looking somewhere else. But talk to us about the final kill on the Jace in the top lane before we go.
To be honest, I don't remember what you're talking about.
Okay, but it's like you guys are pushing for the win, and Jace just decided he was gonna like go 1v1 you in the top lane, and we were like looking at your teammates push the base, and you just clapped him.
Yeah, I think he just got bored or pretty much gave up. I think
There it is.
like he was being emotional, you know.
That was his way of trying to open.
Yeah.
All right, well, sir, I wanna thank you for joining us for the interview. Any final words before we step away?
Not really.
Right
No.
on. Cool. Well, great game for you and your team. I want to thank you for joining us for the interview. Folks, we will be right back with Game 4 for today, so don't touch that browser. We'll be right back.
Hey.